They handed out gifts one by one, smiling, laughing, until it was only me left. Then silence. No box, no bag, not even a fake smile. My own mother looked past me like I didn't exist. That's when it hit me. This wasn't an accident. It was a message. Before we go on, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. The twist you're about to hear will leave you speechless. I just sat there, trying not to let my hands shake. The table was full, cousins unwrapping expensive gadgets, my brother showing off his new luxury watch, my sister-in-law getting her second designer bag of the evening, and me? Nothing. Not even a Merry Christmas from half the table. Oh, Isabella, you didn't get anything? My aunt chuckled, not even hiding her grin. Maybe next year, sweetheart. Laughter followed. I didn't move. I didn't flinch, because I already knew this was coming. I'd seen the signs, the snide comments, the fake concern, the way they always acted like I was just stuck. They still thought I was the struggling one, the dropout, the disappointment, the girl who wasted her potential after leaving that fancy marketing job 3 years ago. None of them knew what I'd been building while they were busy, gossiping. So, what have you been doing these days anyway, Bella? My cousin smirked between bites of glazed ham. Still running that hobby blog thing? I smiled. Something like that. What I didn't say? That hobby blog thing just closed a $2.8 million deal last week. Or that I now had employees in 3 countries. Or that I was sitting on the paperwork to purchase a penthouse they couldn't afford even if they all pooled their Christmas money. But I wasn't going to tell them that. Not yet, because I had planned something for tonight. Something they weren't ready for. And it all started the moment my uncle said, "It's just hard to take you seriously, Isabella. You've always been artistic, but not exactly business-minded." Raised my glass slowly, letting the room fall quiet again, every eye on me, and then I said something that made my brother's fork drop to his plate. Actually, I came here tonight to make an announcement, something that might change how you all see me forever. Their smiles froze. My mother blinked, like she misheard me. My cousin whispered something to his girlfriend, both suddenly alert, as if sensing that the evening was about to take a turn no one expected. I stood up slowly, calm but firm. "I wasn't going to say anything tonight," I began. But after being the only one left out, again, I realized maybe it's time you finally knew who you've been laughing at. My uncle gave a small, uncomfortable chuckle. "Oh, come on, don't be dramatic. I own 22 online stores," I said, cutting through the noise, "across 5 countries. Last month alone, we cleared $500,000 in revenue." Dead silence. You could hear the fireplace crackle in the next room. My mother's fork hovered midair. My brother's face turned a color I'd never seen before, like he was trying to decide whether to deny it or act impressed. I reached into my bag and pulled out a stack of printed documents. "Here's the signed contract with Amazon. And here," I flipped to the next page, "is the partnership with a skincare brand your wife follows on Instagram. You've probably seen my ads and didn't even know it was me." Now they were staring. "But you never told us," my sister-in-law muttered. "Exactly," I said, "because every time I tried to talk about my plans, you all laughed. Remember last Christmas? When I mentioned launching a product line and you said, 'Good luck selling soap online, Isabella?' Yeah. That soap? It just got picked up by Sephora." My aunt's jaw dropped. I leaned forward slightly. "And you know what's funny? All this time, I've been sitting here watching you treat me like a joke. But I never stopped working. I built everything in silence while you all talked over me." That's when my cousin, the one who used to call me the artistic failure, spoke up. "Wait, are you saying you're a millionaire now?" I stared at him. I'm saying I make more in 1 month than you make in 2 years. The room was suffocatingly quiet. Then my dad, who hadn't looked me in the eye all evening, said the one thing that broke the last thread of calm I had left. Still, you shouldn't have made this about money. That's not what Christmas is about, I smiled. But it wasn't a warm smile. Funny, I thought Christmas wasn't about excluding your own daughter on purpose. He looked away, but I wasn't done yet. I hadn't told them everything, and what came next would make them regret every single insult they ever threw my way. I took a deep breath, feeling the heat rising in my chest, not from anger, but from the weight of years I'd carried in silence. The rejection, the sarcasm, the backhanded comments. Every single one was sitting with me at that table. I didn't just come to make an announcement, I said slowly, looking around the room. I came to settle something. My cousin shifted uncomfortably. Settle what? I reached into my purse again and pulled out a small black envelope, sleek, matte, and thick. All their eyes followed my hand as I placed it on the table. This, I said, is the final offer for the property you're all living in. My mother blinked fast. What do you mean? I looked at her, then turned to my father. You mortgaged this house years ago, quietly. You thought no one would find out, didn't you? But the debt caught up, and the bank was going to take it until I bought it from under them. Now there were gasps, real ones, from every corner of the table. I legally own this house now, I said, voice steady. I signed the final papers yesterday. No, that can't be, my father muttered, grabbing the envelope and tearing it open. His hands shook as he read through the terms. I paid cash, I added. No loans, no cosigner, just the girl you all ignored sitting quietly on her laptop while you made fun of her. My brother stood up, face red. So what? You came here to throw us out on Christmas? I looked at him, calm. No, I came to give you a choice. Everyone froze. You can stay, I said, rent-free, for 1 year, but only if you treat me with the respect you've never given before. No more jokes, no more insults, no more silence at Christmas dinner while pretending I'm not here. And if we don't, my aunt snapped, then I'll sell the property, I said. I already have 3 buyers lined up, all cash offers. Dead silence again. You could hear the clock ticking. My mother stared at me like she didn't recognize her own daughter. I'm not here to hurt anyone, I said, my voice finally cracking a little. I just wanted you to see me, not as a burden, not as a joke, but as someone who built everything from nothing, on her own. For once, no one interrupted. For once, they listened. But even now, they didn't know the real reason I bought this house. And when they found out, they'd realize this story was far from over. The silence after my last words wasn't peaceful. It was heavy, uncomfortable. My father kept staring at the contract like the paper would change its truth. My mother looked at me with a mix of disbelief and something that almost resembled fear. No one touched their food anymore. But I wasn't done. I walked over to the fireplace where they had hung everyone's stockings, except mine. I pulled something from my coat pocket and carefully slid it onto the hook that had been left bare. A single white envelope with gold lettering. What's that? My sister-in-law asked, her voice unusually soft. I turned around. It's my goodbye. Now they all looked confused. I'm not staying here. Not tonight. Not anymore, I said. I came for one thing. Closure. And I got it. I walked back to the table and looked each of them in the eye. But before I leave, there's something else you should all know. You've been talking behind my back for years, wondering how I paid my bills, gossiping about how I must be dating someone rich or lucky with sponsors. I paused, There's no man, no investor, no luck. I worked 16-hour days, built my own warehouse system, learned code from scratch, negotiated with overseas suppliers, lost thousands in failed campaigns, and kept going. My cousin scoffed. Still sounds dramatic for just selling soap and candles. I smiled. That's funny, because your wife's Instagram page has been sponsored by my products for over 8 months now. And guess what? Every time she posts, it brings in $40,000 in orders. His face drained of color. His wife's eyes widened. I leaned closer. I own the brand that made your last bonus check possible. My father's voice cracked. You mean all of this? You did it alone? Alone, I nodded, while you rolled your eyes, while you told people I was still finding myself, while you invited me to dinners but forgot my birthday. Every one of you played a part in this, not in building it, but in pushing me to prove you wrong. They didn't speak. Then I gave them the final cut, one they would never forget. I'm giving this house away in a year, I said. But not to you. I'm turning it into a free housing unit for young girls with startup dreams. Girls who come from families like this one. Girls who are laughed at, ignored, underestimated. My mother's hand went to her mouth. You can stay, I said, but next Christmas you'll be packing your things. And with that, I picked up my coat, walked to the door, and opened it to the cold night air. I paused one last time before stepping out. Oh, and Merry Christmas. Then I left them sitting in the silence they had gifted me for years. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel small walking away from them. I felt free. As I stepped outside, the cold air hit my face, but I didn't shiver. For the first time in years, I felt weightless. No more pretending. No more biting my tongue at family dinners. No more shrinking myself to fit into their tiny expectations. I was done. I walked down the porch steps slowly, my heels echoing in the quiet night. The snow had just started falling, soft and calm, so unlike the storm I just left behind. My driver opened the door to the black SUV parked at the curb, and I slid in without a word. As we pulled away, I glanced back once. The house looked smaller now, not physically, but emotionally. That house used to be everything to me. My childhood. My memories. My desperate need for approval. But now, it was just a structure. Brick and wood holding people who never really saw me. My phone buzzed. It was an email from a venture capital firm in New York, confirming their $2.8 million offer to buy a stake in one of my latest product lines. I smiled and put the phone down. Money wasn't what made me feel powerful tonight. It was the truth. The truth that I had risen in silence, succeeded without applause, and returned not for revenge, but for closure. And I got it. They had given each other wrapped boxes filled with candles, perfumes, and bathrobes. Things that fade and disappear. But I had given them something they would never forget. The moment they realized the girl they ignored had become the woman they could never catch. I leaned my head back against the seat and closed my eyes as the car moved through the city lights. And right before sleep took over, one final thought crossed my mind. Let them talk. Let them wonder. Let them regret. Because I had finally become the one thing they never thought I could be. Untouchable.